everyone, welcome back to the channel. If it's your first time here, welcome. I'm Lorianne and I'm truly so happy that you're here. Happy New Year. I hope that you're all settling into 2025. As I'm filming this, we're just a couple days into the new year, but so far so good. Let's hope it stays that way. If you caught my last video, thank you so much. If you did not, I'm going to leave a card up top for you to check out, but it was about my goals for the new year. And my first goal that I shared, and probably my biggest goal for the entire year, is my financial goal. And that's for me and my family to have a low spend year in 2025. This video is going to be all about our low spend year. I'm going to go over our why, our goals, and our kind of rules for the year. So if you're doing a low spend year or the idea of a low spend year interests you, then keep watching. Now, this is not a new concept, and clearly I am not the only one who's feeling like they need to implement a low spend year or even a no spend year. I'm seeing a lot of content across social media and YouTube pop up with this being the concept. Now, I'm entirely new to a low spend year, but I'm not new to like this concept. In the past, we've implemented like no spend months here and there. I'm curious to see how a whole year is gonna go. As of now, truly, I feel so motivated. I feel so motivated to just crush this low spend here. So I'm going to start off with our why. So like our reasons behind doing this and kind of some of the things that pushed us to the point where we wanted to implement this. So for starters, 2024 for us was pretty like financially taxing. At the start of the year, we were in a really good place. I was really happy with our savings and everything we had going on. And we were getting ready to start having the conversations of like, okay, we've built our family. We have like our forever home. We've done some work in the home that like we love, that we're really comfortable with. We don't really need to do any new projects right now. This would be a really great time for us to start having the conversations about saving more, investing more, Roth IRAs, like all of the things. And unfortunately, none of those things happened because we ended up having a lot of unexpected expenses and then back to back. So there was like really no room to like recoup what was spent. And our savings took a hit, and it's at a point now where I just don't feel as comfortable with it as I did before. My next why is probably just more personal. Like it's linked to me. I don't necessarily think that my husband feels this way, but I just feel really burnt out by overconsumption. Just totally exhausted from it. And I'm not the only one that feels this way. I've been seeing a lot more people talk about this online. There's that whole like underconsumption movement. The point is not for me to never spend again, or to only own one pair of shoes and one purse. That's not a desire of mine personally, but it is a desire of mine to be more mindful about how and when and what I spend my money on. I'm tired of buying useless junk I don't need. I'm tired of buying things that I don't truly love just because of the convenience factor. Also, I'm tired of having to like find places in my house for all of this garbage that keeps coming in. Oh my God, and the boxes, what do you do with the boxes? We have recycling pickup only comes every 2 weeks. Where am I supposed to put all these boxes? I don't want to deal with it anymore. The last why is probably like the biggest and most impactful, and the thing that I think is probably going to keep us the most on track. And that's just the goals and dreams that we have for our future. We want to be free of debt. We want to be free of the stress that having a lack of funds brings. We want to be in a position where when things pop up, like if we're older and we have health things, that we aren't concerned because we have the money to take care of those kinds of things. When our children are grown and they're living their own lives and doing their own things, we would love to be able to like help them in any way that we can, whether they need it or not. In our life as adults, our parents have both been so incredibly generous with us. We're so grateful. And if we're not smart about what we're doing now, that won't be our future later. Because let me tell you, I hate working now, and I can tell you I'm not gonna want to keep doing that when I'm like 70. It's just, I'm not gonna want to do it. I'm not gonna be one of those people that's like, I'm working just to keep my mind, like, no. Once I'm of retirement age, your girl's out of there. So getting into the goals, these are things we hope to achieve within our low spend year. The first one being to save more money. We obviously want to increase that savings that we ended up kind of using a lot of in 2024, and reducing debt. I would love to be just like one of those people with zero debt, like no car notes, no mortgage, like all of the things. We have a ways to go. Another goal is that I hope over the course of this year and through doing all of this, that my husband and I can really change the way that we think about money. We think about money very, very differently. I am somebody who feels a lot of anxiety about money when we're not talking about it and we don't have a plan. I'm the kind of person where like we could have $10 in our bank account, but if we've talked about it and we have a plan for how that's going to be stretched until we get paid again, and like what we're gonna do with that next money that comes in and how we're gonna, like, I feel better. Even though I know we only have $10 in the bank, just having the conversation and the plan makes me feel better and more hopeful about going forward. Husband is the opposite. Just saying that you want to talk about money sends him into like just a bad mood. He gets all stressed out. He doesn't want to talk about it. And the last goal is for not just me, but for all of us, everybody in this family, for us to be more disciplined about money and more intentional about how we spend money. My kids are no different from yours. They try it. They ask for things every time we enter a store. It doesn't matter what store it is. They will try to find a toy that they want or something that they would like to bring home with them. I've gotten really good, especially in the last year, at being like, we're going into the store, we're not getting anything other than what mommy needs at the store. Don't ask me for anything. We could look at toys, but only if you promise that you're not gonna ask for anything. They are getting better. They have days where they're really, really good at it, and then they have days where they're on the floor of an aisle screaming that they want something, and I just have to stay strong in it. I myself tend to overspend when shopping. I can very easily walk into Target for just a couple things and walk out with a cart that costs 3 times what I expected it to. That has to stop. And my husband, his spending tends to come in way of like unplanned like activities and like eating out. I don't mind spending money like that when we like have it on the calendar. Like we know that XYZ day we're going here, we're gonna need to buy food there, the kids are probably gonna want a souvenir. Like I factor all of that in to spending when we have a plan. But like he'll just wake up randomly on like a Sunday and be like, I don't wanna sit in the house today, let's go out and do something. And it's like without a plan, you can't walk out of the house and like not spend $100. Like $100 is the new $20 and it's absolutely sickening and I hate it. So all of us need to be more mindful. I need to be more disciplined when it comes to my spending and shopping. We have to be better about teaching our kids about overconsumption and to love and respect the things that they have. And my husband needs to chill out and enjoy our mortgage payments. So before I get into the rules, I kind of wanted to go over like how we came up with the rules and the things that you should kind of consider when making your own rules, because that's the best part of like the low spend year for me, is that it's so flexible because it's really something that you can tailor to make it what you need it to be, because all of our lives are different, our lifestyles are different, the way we prioritize our money and the way we spend it is differently, and I think doing a low spend challenge helps you take more of that into account than maybe a no spend challenge. So for starters, you have to think about your goals. What are the things that you made your goals? Because you want your rules to be things that are going to help support those goals. Another thing you should consider is your lifestyle, because not everybody's lifestyle is the same. Next, I want you to sit down and write a list of like things that bring you joy. This seems irrelevant, but the reason for this is that in order for you to be able to stick to a low spend year, you have to still be filling your year with the things that bring you joy and happiness. Otherwise, you're going to be miserable. And what happens to a lot of us when we're not happy, when we're sad, when we're depressed, when we're stressed out, a lot of us can be emotional spenders and buy things because of the way that we feel in the moment. And so if you're still doing low spend, but you're managing to fill your life with the things that bring you joy, you're much more likely to be able to stay the course. The list of the things that bring you joy, you're gonna wanna incorporate those into your rules. For my husband and I, we both love like good food and trying new restaurants. And so cutting eating out of our year would be insane for us. It just would not happen. Now, obviously, there are ways to have good food at home and we'll try to implement those as the year goes on, but we're definitely not gonna rule out the ability to go out to eat together because that just makes us happy. The goal here is to refine your spending while achieving a brighter financial future, not being miserable and hating every second of your life. Now getting into kind of our rules and like plan of action for our low spend year in 2025. For bills and expenses, we are going to go through all of those line by line and figure out where we can cut and where we can reduce, probably starting with like things that are like subscriptions and things like that, because those are obviously not always necessary. Like, you don't need a subscription to DoorDash. Those are the things that you really do have more control of, and a lot of those things you can probably live without. For example, like, you really don't have very much control over like what your gas bill is. But do we really need Hulu, Netflix, and Disney Plus? Like, maybe we can make a sacrifice and cut one of those. First thing you're gonna wanna do is look through your bills, your expenses, your memberships, and all those things, and figure out where you can cut and where you can maybe shave down and save a little bit. Like, maybe there's a plan that you have and you can downgrade and save yourself some money every month. So that's kind of our first course of action, because that'll let us know how much we have left over after we pay all of the things that we have to pay, to let us know kind of what's left over to do, you know, groceries and eating out and vacate, like all of that stuff. In order to make a plan, you have to know like where you are, what's coming in and what has to go out and what you have left over. So now the rules for like all the other spending. So for grocery spending, our rule is that groceries have to be $125 or less a week. And that's like all encompassing. I thought that I was really, really good at the grocery budget, but upon like thinking about it a little bit more, I realized not so much. I grocery shop online, and we shop at Aldi. And so it's very easy for me to see the total when I'm shopping that way. And I can usually stay within like that, you know, budget of that 120 to 125. The problem is that there are certain things that I can't get at Aldi that I have to get at like a ShopRite, or things that we sometimes pick up when we go to Costco. And I see a bunch of other things that I can't get when I'm at Aldi, and I'll add those too. And then next thing you know, I've spent $80 in ShopRite after already spending $120 at Aldi. Then I'll go to Costco for paper towels and toilet paper and end up buying things that the kids tried as free samples that they liked. And then I spent $100 there. And next thing you know, I've spent way more on groceries than I was supposed to that week. Doesn't happen like that every week. It does happen way more than it should. So we're going to be all in 125 for all groceries from all stores. The only thing not included in that 120 is like our paper products. So we buy paper towels and toilet paper from Costco, and we probably do that like, I don't even really know. It's probably every 6 weeks. So it's kind of like an every other month thing. So that's its own budget separate from that. But if we're at Costco and we end up picking other things, that has to be factored into that 125 grocery bill. Discretionary spending, eating out and takeout. Like I said before, good food brings us joy, okay? We like to go out to eat. It's unrealistic for us personally, for me to be like, no, we're gonna go a whole year without eating out or getting takeout, because sometimes I need it for like the convenience factor. I'm not always like, obviously I have to be, you know, more planned about meal plans and having the things on hand and meal prepping and stuff like that. And that's a given. In order for you to spend less, like you have to be prepared. But at the same time, life happens. Like, what if I'm sick? Like, I'm down. I'm not getting up out of this bed. I've got the flu. You gotta order pizza for the kids. Like, I'm not coming down here to roast a chicken. Like, it's just not gonna happen. What we decided is there's a budget of $120 for eating out or ordering in. There's more to it than that, because I didn't want us eating out or ordering in multiple times a month and like eating just junk food in order to stay within that 120. So I also put a limit on how often we can eat out or order in. You get 2 times a month. 2 times a month, not to exceed $120. Now, if a month finishes and you went out twice and there's still money left over in that eating out, ordering in budget, you can do one of 2 things. You can save that money in that category for something later on, or you can add it to saving or a debt payoff. For clothing, I've assessed everybody's wardrobes, and right now everybody is good with their current winter clothes and everything that they have. We probably won't need to think about new clothes until summer. In which case we will assess what everybody has and how everybody is fitting in their things. We'll set a budget, and then we'll see how it gets allocated per person. So obviously the person with the most need will have the larger of the budget. Next is like everything that kind of falls in the realm of like beauty. So like hair, skin, makeup, all of those things. So for beauty services, I got rid of doing my nails at like a place a while ago. I'm either bare or I do them myself. Pedicures, I will in the summer get gel pedicures, but I usually only need 2 in the summer because they last so long that I can just like file if my nails are getting long and the polish stays perfect. So it's kind of been a win-win for me and kind of like a hack. I'll allocate like a pedicure budget once we get into like that season, because right now it's just not necessary. I really have no regular beauty services that I go to. My husband gets his hair cut. We kind of talked about like what's reasonable for him, and we were like, okay, like 1 haircut a month sounds like it's fine. For me, we set it for like biannual trims for my hair, but realistically, I probably only go like once a year to get my hair trimmed. For all beauty products, I'm only going to buy new when I have finished something. So it's a replacement. So as the shampoo is finished, we buy 1 new bottle of shampoo. As I finish a mascara, I throw it in the garbage. I go buy 1 new mascara. As far as trying new products goes, like I can try new products, but it still has to be like when I finished something. The only caveat is that they have to be like within the same price range. If I was using a Maybelline Fit Me concealer for like $7.99 and I finish it, I can't then go replace it with a $30 concealer from Sephora. It's gotta be within like $5, like give or take. And it's a new product. If you've never used it before, but you hate it, guess what? You have to finish it before you go and buy a new one. So it's also probably going to make me very, very careful about trying new beauty products. For events and activities, the goal for the year is going to be to keep it simple. Really keep it simple. We're going to keep those at a minimum. They're all going to have to be planned in advance and budgeted for. If we're doing anything that's spontaneous, it has to be like free or extremely low cost. So no more like spur of the moment trips to like the indoor play place for $50 just because we want to burn some energy and get out of the house on a Sunday. We're going to be spending a lot more time at home, enjoying our mortgage payment, getting the most out of the things and the toys and the activities that we have here that we already love. I mean, I have spent the last 2 years in this home really trying to make it a space that we love. If COVID taught me anything, it taught me that like your home should be your sanctuary and it should be multifaceted for you and your family, so that if you were ever in a situation where you couldn't leave it, you'd be cool because you love being there and there's enough for you to do and keep yourself entertained. And I feel like I've done a lot of work on that and that we should be at that place, and everybody just needs to now settle into it and enjoy it. When we do have planned events and activities, we need to look for ways to keep the spending at a minimum. Before Christmas, we bought tickets to go to Monster Jam with the kids in a couple of weeks. I had a discount code when I bought the tickets, so I got them for a little bit cheaper, and I didn't buy the seats that I originally wanted. I bought like slightly higher up ones so that they'd be a little less expensive, just trying to save money where I could. But then the day of the event, I will likely be like making food at home, packing it up, and we will be eating it like on the train or in the car, depending on how we decide to go there on the way, so that we reduce the likelihood of needing to spend money at the place. Like granted, if Ariella sees that they have popcorn, she's gonna want popcorn, and that's fine. But at least I don't have to buy dinner for all 4 of us and then little snacks for them. And all that, and like drinks, because that stuff can get really expensive really, really fast. So just kind of saving money where we can by just planning ahead. So for vacations or going away, travel was something that was on our list of things that bring us joy. But for 2025, I can confidently say we're not going to be taking any big trips. There won't be any like 8-day away trips, or likely like our family getting on an airplane and going anywhere. Like it's probably not going to happen in this low spend year. Right now, the only thing we have on the docket in a couple months is like a indoor water park trip for a long weekend with the kids, which we've done the last 2 winters as well. But they're gifts from family. So like our parents a couple years ago kind of stopped doing like all these gifts for like the kids and us, and they give like a little thing for everybody to open, and then like the gift is like money towards a trip or an activity or something that you can do together as a family. So we pooled our money from this Christmas for that, and we are doing this trip with the kids. So experience gifts are great, very helpful, especially when you're in a low spend year. Likely we won't see very much like traveling, vacationing going on in 2025. Now the category is celebrations, which is encompassing of like birthdays, holidays, and just hosting. One of my 2025 goals was to host and entertain more. So we're going to look for ways to do that in our home on a budget. So hopefully that sparks ideas for new content going forward. Or it gets a little dicey, I feel like, is birthday parties, because some of these places outside, like if you want to have it outside your house, can be incredibly expensive. I don't love that, but on the flip side, having parties at home can sometimes be a little bit stressful, and sometimes having it at home isn't even that cheap, because I've definitely thrown birthday parties at home where I'm like, wow, I definitely spent more on this than I thought I was going to, because all those decorations and the food costs, they all add up if you're not careful. So for birthday parties for the kids this year, I'm not opposed to having them out. I'm not opposed to having them at the house. I think it's just going to be a situation where we have to weigh all of the options and really like line by line price it out to figure out what makes the most sense. For gifts and giving back, all of that is gonna have to come out of our gift sinking fund. So I have a sinking fund set up where like every month we contribute X amount of money towards gifts. Now there are certain months where we don't contribute to gifts at all. And there are certain months where we contribute more than others. It really depends on where we are in the year and like how many birthdays and things I have coming up. Like August is a very birthday heavy month for us. So I typically start ramping up how much we put in that sinking fund in like May so that I can cover everybody's birthdays. So I'm going to continue that this year. I'm going to put together a really good plan of how much we need to be contributing monthly, but also we're really going to have to be putting budgets and caps on the gifts that we give this year. We love being generous. We love giving nice gifts and gifts that our loved ones enjoy, but sometimes that can be a slippery slope because you then almost feel like you need to keep building on that. You know, like it's like I got you a Coach bag last year for Christmas. How am I going to top that this year? Like that kind of mentality. And that mentality will leave you real broke real fast. Impulse purchases, which is probably my biggest problem in all of this. The rule for impulse purchases is that nothing, and I mean nothing, can be purchased without running through my intentional spending checklist. I put together a checklist of all these questions that I have to answer before I can check out on a purchase. I'm gonna share the link with you down below if you want to download it and use it for yourself. I'm gonna run through the questions now so you can kind of get an idea of what I'm working with here. First question, is this a need? Yes or no? Does this solve a problem I've noticed? Can I borrow over buying? Do I own anything similar? That's probably more so for like clothes, beauty products, things like that. Can I afford to buy it without debt? If the answer is no to that, it is always going to be no to the purchase. Is there a space to store this item? That's going to be key because I'm so tired of trying to find a place for all of this stuff in our house. What is the cost per use? For those of you who are not familiar with the cost per use formula, it is the cost of the item divided by how much use you think you'll get out of it. I use the cost per wear quite a bit. It's like, yeah, these jeans are expensive, but I'm going to wear these twice a week until there are literal holes in them because they fit so good. That's worth it because eventually they're going to pay for themselves. So that's my checklist, and nothing that's not a necessity can be purchased without running through that checklist first. I have it on my phone so that it's always easily accessible. I print it out in the house so it's accessible. Me and this checklist, we're locked in. And then any unexpected expense that happens to pop up through the year, we'll evaluate the urgency of it. For example, like if our roof is leaking, clearly that needs to be taken care of immediately. And we will pull from our savings fund to do that. The rule for our low spend year is that we have to be putting at least $150 a month away in our savings. That's at the bare minimum. Feeling that as we start to see that account grow, we're gonna be more motivated to add more to it. All the money that we save during the low spend, we will assess to figure out where we should put it, whether we want to throw that at an extra car payment or, you know, increase how much we're spending on the mortgage every month, or adding it to our savings, or you know, maybe saving it towards, you know, a vacation in the summer with the kids. So that's it. That's all about our low spend year, our why, our goals, our rules. I'm at a place right now where I'm just like really, really excited to get started. I know it doesn't seem like something like one would be excited about. My husband is on board and he's gonna do it, but he's not particularly excited. Like I'm smiling. He's like, we're doing a low spend year. Because to him, it just feels like a lot of sacrifice and having to change the way that he lives. Like having to stop and think about a purchase before buying it seems like such a tedious thing. And it is, but the whole point of it is to reprogram your brain. And so I have the burden on me to try to make this year as fun and just amazing as possible so that nobody feels like they had to go without, so that it just feels like it was a normal fun year and we can still have a great fun life without spending a ton. But I will gladly take on that burden. I'm very excited to tap into my creativity and make do with the resources that we have. Obviously, hopefully at the end of it, he is just really proud of the progress that we've made. And then he doesn't feel like it's a sacrifice anymore. Those of you who are also on a low spend journey or who might just be interested in this kind of content, I'm going to be doing, I think, quarterly updates. I think monthly updates would be too much. So I think I'm going to do quarterly updates updates on our progress and how things are going. I'm gonna share the real, so if we have a time where we fail, maybe we have a month where we're not so successful at it, I'm gonna share all of that because I want to be transparent with you guys about like this year and how difficult it is and how we really do on it. We're also doing a low spend year. I would love to hear your why and some of your rules and guidelines for yourself down in the comments. Just a warning, I might steal a couple of them if they're good. It's never too late to add and edit. It could be like a little low spend support group for each other. So drop your comments down below and let's all support each other. It would mean so much to me if you could like this video. It really, really helps the channel. It helps YouTube push out my content to other people who might be interested in the kind of videos that I make. And also, no pressure at all, but I personally would love it if you would subscribe and like join the crew, just because I think you're cool and I think we vibe. But if you don't think we vibe, then you don't have to. Again, no pressure. Okay, just saying. But anyway, I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.